Do our pets and animals have souls? If so, can we really communicate with them in the spiritual level? Well, you might have seen this viral video of a sassy diva cat talking back to her human. So today I'm sitting down with the woman behind that moment, Lori the pet psychic. Not only did I get a personal reading from Lori, but we also talked about how she discovered this gift, what it's like connecting with animals. Rather, she can talk to more than just the common pets, cats and dogs. Can she talk to dolphins, grasshoppers? So buckle up, whether you're a believer or a skeptic, this video will blow your mind. And before you judge and have all these judgments in the comments, at least watch the full video. At least watch the full video before you judge, okay? And as you guys always know, for me to continue reaching out to these fascinating interviews, commenting and subscribing to GrazyTV helps to keep this channel running. For the last 5 years, I've been here dedicated to you guys to bring new videos every month. So did you hit the like button yet and share this video to a pet lover? So a little background, I personally have 2 pets. I have Mimi and Pororo. I literally birthed my cats, okay? Like, that's how much I love them. So I always wondered if human consciousness is real and psychism, if you believe in it, if humans are real, why can't we do that with animals, plants, freaking rocks, for God's sakes? That could be real too. You just never know, you know? So I was looking for a pet psychic and I happened to run into Lori's videos. Now, there is one video where it went viral where she got to connect with a cat, one of her clients.
When I connected with Lo, I immediately heard him talk in the voice of a flamboyantly gay older man, and it is the first time something like that has ever happened. It hasn't happened since. Before I sent the session to his mom, I was like, look, this was really weird. Loaf's mom tells me she's always viewed Loaf as a mini Elton John.
So I reached out to Lori and I got a reading from her, and this is how my reading went.
Okay, so I talked to Mimi first. The first thing he said was, "Do you like my mustache?" And I said, "I do, it's very cute. I'm a man, it's handsome. I'm a handsome cat. The handsomest. Certainly the most handsome in this home. More handsome than Pororo, and he knows it too." I am number 1, the alpha king. He's my show pony. He said, I walk into a room and I'm entertaining. Just walking into the room like I own the place. I had an image of him just like walking like he's just thinks he's
the shit.
I said, can you tell me about your personality? And then, okay, I'm just sharing what I got. And he said, I too am a gay cat. And I was like, oh dear. And he said, Pororo is my lover. And I was like, please no. And he was like, please no what? And I said, I just don't know where this is going.
Apparently Mimi went a little bit inappropriate with the pet psychic, which is interesting because Mimi does this thing that's a little bit odd. He gets on top of your leg and he does the baking of the biscuits. It's a little bit weird because he takes out his cat down there, the private parts. It comes out as he's doing the biscuits. Like, I could see his cat ding dong, and he's like licking it and cleaning it after. So I don't know, does that have something to do with it? I always thought that that was a little signature thing that Mimi did. He is obviously spayed, so why does he do that? I'm not sure.
He said, my throat hurts sometimes, my gums, my teeth and gums, they are sensitive. I need wet food, not hard food. He said, they do give me medicine for it. I said, does it help? He said, it's a Band-Aid. I believe I have teeth that should be removed. And I said, are you sure? He said, I think it would be helpful, yes. He said, it will be an ongoing problem if they don't address it. The root of the issue, which is literally the root of my tooth. Thus why it should come out.
And Pororo came in very differently, she said. Like, he had a totally different personality.
He said, I don't really care that he's the alpha. I go with the flow. I'm way more adaptable than he is. He said, he thinks he's the king, the ruler of the house. Let him though. I don't care. We are not lovers either. He's crazy. Oh, he's so crazy, but I love him. I show my affection through words. Well, you'd call them noises. That is my love language. How I express love to you is through the noises I make. Maybe change my food to salmon. I like salmon the best.
I was like, okay. So I gave him some salmon. I tried it out and surprise, surprise, he loves it.
I said, do you have any advice for Grace? You are meant to spread joy and information to help people in many ways. That is your purpose. I am a spirit guide, one of them. I didn't tell you that in the beginning. I wasn't going to tell you that. But I am one of Grace's spirit guides, an animal guide. I am helping her in ways she doesn't even know. Mimi came off as this very like, I am hot shit. I am the king, I am alpha. And Pororo was just like, I'm so happy. I love everything. And it's from their perspective, which can be different than ours.
True.
So they can view themselves differently than maybe they're presenting outwardly.
My first experience with a pet psychic was very interesting, and I'm gonna be giving you guys my 2 cents at the end of the video, but let's get into the interview first.
My name is Lori Cowen, and I am an animal communicator. I telepathically communicate with animals, both living and in spirit.
How did you first get into animal psychicism?
I used an animal communicator. This was years ago. This was at least 8 years ago. I used an animal communicator. When I had the sessions with her, I was like, okay, this is real. Like, this is real. Some people can do this. Some people were born with this gift and they can communicate with animals, and she blew me away. So I believed it was possible. I just didn't think I could do it.
So with your animals, or?
She connected with my dogs, Duke and Inky.
What was some things that she said that blew you away?
My grandpa actually came through randomly during the session. She stopped and she asked, you know, does the name Don mean anything to you? And I was like, that's my grandpa. And said, he wants you to know that he's here and he's taking care of your babies, meaning like he's taking care of my dogs in spirit. And the thing is that no one knew was that when I would have an animal that was about to pass, I would basically send a message to my grandpa saying, you know, we're letting this dog go. Can you please, you know, be there and take this dog and take care of them? And so this just came out of nowhere. I mean, I broke down crying on the floor. And so that was what stuck with me. That was what made me say, okay, this is real. This is, yeah.
So, did you have any spiritual gifts as a child, or did this come later on as an adult?
I don't think I had any spiritual gifts. So I've always been a huge animal lover. Like, as a kid, my mom has a million pictures of me petting random people's dogs because I had everybody's dog. I did have a psychic a long time ago tell me that I could communicate with animals, but it was just sort of like, okay, well, how? Like, the only thing that I would do, not that I thought it even worked, but when I was driving and I saw like a squirrel or a rabbit or something that was the road, I would try to send them a message saying like, danger, come, you know, just stay on the grass. You know, I didn't know if it worked. It was just me trying something.
You didn't like see ghosts when you were younger, or like, you know, anything crazy?
I wish, but no.
Wow. Okay, interesting. And tell us a story about how you now got into professionally doing this animal psychic.
I was on Facebook and I saw an article about this animal communicator named Nikki Vasquez. And the article was titled like, this animal communicator charges $5.50 for a session. And so I was like, okay, if she's charging that much, then she is legit. Like, if she is, then she's serious. So I started following her and I watched, you know, like all of her videos. And then she was going to start teaching a course. And I had 2 different calls with her about the course. And she said, you know, anybody can do this. It's not a gift. Anybody can communicate with animals. And so I just took a leap of faith and signed up for her course. And that's what started this.
Wow. Okay. So when you took her course, like, when did this thing come in? You know, did she really tell you like how to do step by step?
So her course, I should probably say, so her course is how to do this as a business. It's not, oh, I just want to be able to talk to my cat. It is a very detailed, intense course that covers everything from animal communication to the business aspect of it. So it was a very intense course.
So like when you first got into this course, like did you automatically know how to connect with them? Did it come after 10 courses?
So it was a live 8-week course. We met twice a week on Zoom. There were close to 40 people in the class. The first day we were connecting with an animal. Connected with her animal, and then we connected with one of her students that was helping her, who's been doing it a lot longer.
We connected with her animal, and everybody wrote down what they got, and we all shared it. So it was like literally the first day.
I guess a lot of people probably have questions like, do you see something in your mind? You're hearing things. How do you differentiate imaginations and like the real thing you're hearing?
I get images sometimes, but it's primarily words. It's like it's like a dialogue, a conversation that I'm having. How do I know that it's not me and that it's the animal? I kind of had to prove that to myself because I'm a skeptic. I'm a skeptic, and I didn't think this would work for me. So when I would start getting, so I started with just words, just a bunch of random words I would write down. And I would try to empty my mind completely, just be completely blank, and then the words would come into my head. And of course, I thought that I was maybe making them up. But then when I would share them with the animal's parent, they would sort of tie together, like piece together. Oh, I got the word rocket because, or I got the word spaceship because the dog's middle name is Rocket. Things like that. The first one I did, I was actually looking, I still have my notes, at the word disposal. And what she told me was that their garbage disposal was broken, and she's been on her husband about getting it fixed. So it was things like that where the words were just coming out of nowhere, and then they were making sense. And there's no way that I could have known because I didn't know anything about the people or other animals they had or anything. It was proving it to myself, and it developed into a dialogue from starting with words.
For example, I have a dialogue in my head. I'm gonna eat whatever lunch today at 12 p.m. How do you differentiate that in like disposal, rocket ship, and you're sure?
God, I mean, it is. It's really weird. I can tell it's not me, and I don't really know how to explain it. I can even tell if another animal jumps into a session that it is a different animal, not the original one I was talking to. It's kind of just like a feeling. It doesn't feel like I'm talking to myself. I mean, it literally is like I'm having a conversation with something else. And I can also feel their personality as well. So I know that it's them. I can tell if an animal has a sense of humor. I can tell if they're afraid. I can tell if they're just super happy, if they're extremely hyper. So I can feel that too. Ask them during sessions. I'll tell you a funny story. Was doing practice sessions for 6 months, and I found people on Facebook in an animal related group and said, hey, I don't want to know anything. Just can you send me a picture of your animal? So I connected with this woman's dog. The dog said, I love Grandma. Loved, as in past tense. She's here though she visits. So I'm thinking, all right, the dog is telling me that this woman's grandma is in spirit. And, what if she's still alive? Like, what if? So I paused the conversation with the dog, and I went to Facebook, and I sent her a message, and I said, is your grandma in spirit? And she said, yes. And so I went back to the dog, and the dog was like, I can't believe you stopped to ask her that.
Do you have to like meditate before this, or does it come to you randomly when you're in a shower?
No, actually, so doing the course, she would have us, listen to a meditation before we would connect. As we got further along, she would just say, you can, do it on your own. I don't. I just go right in. I look at the picture, connect, and then that's it. I'm connected.
Whoa, okay. I did a reading with you, and you asked for photos of my cat, and you specifically wanted their eyes in there as well. Like, what is about the eyes that you can connect with them?
So actually, I don't even need a picture.
Okay.
I've done it without pictures before, and I reconnect to people's animals without pictures, but I like a picture because I like to I don't know, it just feels like I'm connecting better. With eyes open, it's sort of like, I feel like eyes are the direct pathway to the soul. So I just feel like I can visually see myself connecting with this animal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
Wow.
people have sent me images where their eyes are closed, and I've still done it. So it's not a necessity. It's just something that I personally like.
Yeah, tell us one memorable story that you want to share with us that might blew our minds away.
The most memorable one I did the video went viral. It was about Loaf the cat, because this was the first time that I heard an animal in a voice that was different than the voice in my head. I heard him. God, it's so crazy talking about it, but I heard him in the voice of a very flamboyantly gay older man. And the way he was talking too, like he kept calling me darling. He said he was marvelous. He sent, because, you know, I do get images. So he sent me a visual of this meme where this person is like feather boa, huge glasses. And so when I saw it in my head, he said, yes, like Elton, meaning Elton John. So he was telling me, like, basically he sees himself, you know, like Elton John, flamboyant with everything. And when I shared it with his mom, she said that was huge because that's how she sees him. She sees him like a flamboyantly gay older man. When he enters the room, she said she's called him Elton. She's referred to him as Elton because she sees him like Elton John. And that was just from a picture of a cat, like a regular picture of a cat. Nothing different about the cat. So that was probably my favorite session that I've done ever.
I know one of my cat came out to you as gay as well. Is this a common thing to have gay pets, or is this rare?
I did a really interesting session with a cat that was in spirit, and I wasn't talking to a cat. I don't know what I was talking to. I was talking to a very advanced soul that had lived millions of lives, had been a human before, and all these things. Like, I could feel the elevation of this soul, that it was higher than me. And I have been told by the animals, like, they've been humans before. Humans have been animals. So I think too, it can be like a human, a soul that's been human before that is in this animal. Again, like that's part of kind of what I feel. I'm learning as I go with this. So there's so much that I've learned from them. Like, I said to that cat, I said, I didn't know animals can be like that. And he was like, we can, darling, we can. So, you know, I'm learning from them as I do this.
Are you technically able to connect with like human souls as well, or just animals for now?
I did a session with a dog. The dog was in spirit, and this woman's grandma jumped in. Again, first time, only time this has happened. And the dog was like, I'll leave you guys now. I'm leaving. You can finish up. And I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm now with this woman in my head. And I told her, I said, I don't connect with people. Like, I can't do that. And she said, well, you can and you are. And so she had some messages she wanted me to share. I don't try to connect with humans. I've had people ask, you know, could you connect with this person? It is the same thing. The way people connect with people is the same the way that people connect with animals. So I just, you know, I haven't practiced that. I haven't really tried. Like, I just love animals so much and I love talking to them. So it's something that I could do. I just haven't explored it.
Oh, can you connect to any other animals? Sharks, dolphins, grasshoppers?
Yes. Outside of, you know, cats, dogs, birds, I've connected with goats. I connected with a turtle. I connected with a hippo.
Wow.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, the hippo. And I connected with the giraffe species. Very weird. Somebody had contacted me and said, hey, I've always had this, you know, this love for giraffes, this feeling like I'm connected to giraffes. Is it possible for you to connect with giraffes, the species? Kind of asked them why. And I had never done that. And I said to her, I said, you know what? I'll give it a try. Haven't done it before. We'll see what happens. And so I did. And that was a really amazing one. And after I finished, I was like, I need to connect with another species again. Like, I would love to do dolphins. I would love to do whales. Because that was a really cool experience, being connected to like the whole. Yeah, it could be any animal.
Can you tell us what the giraffe species said? Maybe something fascinating that you remember?
What was interesting about the conversation was, you know, because I've been to Africa. Like, I know what's going on with the poaching and everything. And so I had kind of said, you know, I'm sorry, like, you know, that you guys are poached, like, you know, and they said that, you know, so are humans. And I was sort of like, you know, thinking humans aren't poached. And then they were like, aren't they? Like, you're kind of closed-minded about this. And then I thought about it and it was like, yeah, look at all the killing that's done, you know? So I wasn't looking at it like that. That was interesting. And just, I don't know, it was this feeling of like, I could tell it was something higher than me. And the way that they
So is it a different feeling when you're talking to an individual animal versus like a species?
Talking to this, I've only done giraffes. That's the only species I've connected with so far. You know, I do want to do others. I could tell that this was different. Like, I could tell I was connected to a whole and not just one animal, but like a collective of living and in spirit. You know, both just all together. Connected to just one animal, it's more personable. However, I can feel how elevated a soul is. Yeah, I can tell, I can feel when a soul is elevated, has lived many lives versus maybe one that hasn't.
Wow. I mean, that's so hard to grasp because it's like if you're talking to a species, it's that like a collective consciousness you're talking to versus one pet animal, but they also have consciousness and they can also talk to this big consciousness. It's like mind blowing.
No, I know. Like I said, as a skeptic, it's still, you know, and I say every time I sit down to do one, I'm like, am I crazy? Is this real? I mean, because it's so hard. That skeptic side of me is still there. And I tell people, like, look, I wouldn't believe it either if I were you. Like, I wouldn't. I totally get it. The only reason why I believe it is because I'm experiencing it. Yeah, the species connect. That was something I didn't know I could do. And I was putting it off. I kept putting it off because I was so worried about doing it, that it wouldn't work or something like that. And then when I did it, I was like, oh my God, I need to do this again. This was great.
Was there ever a time you were wrong or they gave you wrong information, or is there never a wrong or right?
That's a good question. So, with sessions, there's always things that don't make sense, that maybe don't seem accurate. And I don't know why, but it does happen. And even my teacher, who is phenomenal, said it happens to her too. It's also because there's so many different ways to translate telepathic messages.
Mm.
I could be translating it wrong. They could be using a symbol I don't understand, things like that. So, and it's also from their perspective. It's my job to sort of figure out, okay, what did you mean by this? And sometimes I get it wrong.
You mentioned that some animals' connections are stronger than others. Why would one animal come in a weaker connection?
So I had to think about this, and I actually asked a couple other animal communicators what they thought. So an interesting perspective that was given to me, which I agree with, is, you know how you're connected more strongly with certain people than other people?
Mm-hmm.
Like, with certain people, like, you feel this connection, this vibe, and with some people, it's like, you don't. I think it's the same with animals. I do. I think it's the same with animals. I think they're as different as people are. And so I think some feel stronger than others because it's that connection you have with certain people versus other people. It's the same kind.
Got it. Got it. That does make sense because you can't click with everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Oh, you mentioned that one of my cat was my spirit guide. Was this the first time an animal has told you this? And could you dive deeper into animals as spirit guides?
The session with that was the first time an animal had told me that they were like a spirit guide, like a spirit animal. I have since, though, had animals tell me that they've been spirit guides. So again, because I am learning as I go with this, I actually looked up, you know, animal spirit guides and what that means. And it's basically, you know, it's an animal that comes into your life for a purpose, for a reason, to help you with something, to help you get through something. So there's a reason they come, and they can be there for just a specific amount of time and then, you know, move on. I've always believed in, you know, spirit guides, and I know animal spirit guides are a thing. It's just, that was the first time that it had been confirmed for me with your cat. It's coming into your life for, you know, a reason, a purpose, to help you, to guide you, to support you, you know, something like that. Sometimes animals tell me when I ask, and they're just saying, they say, you're not meant to know. You're not meant to know this, or you're not ready for this. They'll try to explain something to me, and I'm kind of confused asking questions, and they're like, you're not ready for this. And one of the big things with that is them telling me, you know, animals in spirit telling me that they can be multiple places at once, that they can be both the spirit of the animal that they were and also already reincarnated into another animal, that they can be both those things and also visiting their human. So that's kind of hard for me to understand. And I've had animals say, like, it's okay, you know, you're not ready for that.
You mentioned earlier that some animals come in that they're fearful or something. Was there any like negative sessions?
The session that I did where I felt the fear in this dog, it was a dancer, and he was very afraid of leaving his family because he was their protector. And I could feel the fear. And I write all my sessions out, and at some point in that session, I just stopped writing, and it turned into like a therapy session in my head. That one was really hard for me, and that stuck with me for a while, and I was very new still at that point. I was doing practice sessions. I didn't know how to handle something like that. She did tell me, though, because before I shared the session, I said, you know, is he feeling okay? And she asked if I wanted a health history, and I said, actually, yeah. And she said, he had a cancerous tumor removed, and he was going to make an appointment with the vet oncologist. And so at that point, I felt more free to say, okay, this is what he told me. So that was really hard. And then the other sessions that are hard are when someone is booking a session because their animal is not doing well and they want to know kind of where their animal is at. I had to do a session where, you know, that was the case. And this animal said, like, I'm ready to go. I'm done. Like, growing inside me. I'm like, I said, can your mom do anything for you to help you? And the animal said, just love me and let me go. Stuff like that is really hard because I know how it would be for me if I was hearing that.
What is for you next in the next few months, in the next years?
Obviously, I'm going to keep doing sessions. I love doing sessions and connecting with people's animals and helping people. You know, I got an email the other day of someone who said, you know, because of the session, you know, they're taking better care of themselves and, you know, being more motivated for things. I also do want to teach workshops to teach people how to do this.
Okay, sorry, last question. When you go to a cafe and random person comes and talk to you or you meet a new friend, is this something you tell them like, hey, I'm an animal psychic? And what is their response?
It is still really hard for me to tell people. And anytime I tell someone, I feel like I have to go into this explanation of like, no, I know it's so weird and I wouldn't believe it either. And then I have to start telling them examples of things there's no way I would have known. Because if someone had come up to me and said, oh, yes, I can speak to animals, you know, I would have been like, okay, like, you know, okay. What's also hard with dating, I meet a guy, at what point am I going to tell them this? And what are they? A lot of people think this is crazy. That's been also something that I've been kind of having to figure out.
Got it. I mean, the right person will love you no matter what, and they'll probably love that you do this.
Yeah, I definitely need an animal lover for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I hope that after people watch this video, they'll be able to book a session with you and, you know, see for themselves.
Yeah, it's I do have a waiting list right now, so they can join that. But yeah, it's been amazing. Honestly, I've loved every single bit.
So, do you guys have any pets? And if you were able to talk to a pet psychic, what do you think your pets would say to you? If you guys want to get in touch with Lori and get a reading yourself, I'll leave all the information down in the description box. You guys can go and book a session with her. So here's my honest thoughts on working with a pet psychic. Number one, it was very interesting and fun. Whether you're a skeptic or believer, it still feels good. It feels good to hear, like, in human language what your cats or dogs might be thinking. I do wish that for my personal session, I wish they said something a little bit more validating, such as that purple toy from 2 years ago that you got rid of. I really miss it. I want you to buy me a new one. Or a little bit more physical validating would have been cool, but that didn't happen in my case. But every session is different. I think that animal lovers, you should do this at least once in your life. Again, I think the most value here is the fact that you can hear and listen to the opinions and personalities of your pets and be mind blown that, you know, what you thought of your cat or your dog in your image is different than what they think in their head and in their soul life. I personally believe that if humans, we have consciousness and something outside of our physical selves, such as our souls and spiritual selves. I think even plants have consciousness. I think they even have opinions and beliefs. And it's fascinating to wonder if we can connect to our pets. What is the limit out there? Remember to hit the like button and subscribe to GrazyTV for more of these fascinating interviews. See you guys in my next video.